Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules from WhatCulture.com here, and I've got a brand new review just for you, and it's another board game. This time we're taking a look at the counterpart to one of the weirdest games I've ever played, Deadly Premonition, the board game. Ooh. Now, this deluxe edition of the game has kindly been provided by Rising Star Games, so thank you very much for that. But it leaves me with one question. Is it any good? Well, Zach, let's find out. But before we begin, did you know that WhatCulture also does a board game? It's true, we do. And you can purchase it at shop.whatculture. Who knows, I might even sign a copy or two to devalue them a little bit. Now onto the review. For those not in the know, Deadly Premonition is some sort of bizarre murder mystery game in which you take on a rather eccentric police officer as he investigates a murder that took place in a small US town. Things get extremely weird, every single member of the town is a suspect, and then even more mad stuff begins to happen. And the soundtrack, oh boy. That's something. The game sees 2 to 4 players take up the role of agents, each of which are trying to prove 6 of their suspects are innocent while incriminating other players' suspects to prove that they are accessories to the killer themselves. And the twist is that one of the players is actually the killer. The killer wins the game if they manage to murder a set amount of suspects depending on how many people are playing, and the agents need to discover who it is before time runs out. Therefore, the group has to balance not only trying to find the relevant evidence, but stop the killer from striking. As things started to heat up, we found the pace of this game to be incredibly quick, with players presenting, countering, and even negating evidence in these weird sort of battles that kind of felt like Ace Attorney. Objection! Overruled. F you. That was usually the flow of it. With the use of special event cards which you draw from a main deck, you can swap hands with other players, steal their suspects, and even make them discard valuable evidence to make your life easier. This created moments of tension, frustration, and goddamn levity when you think that basically all of your suspects are nearly in the clear, and then in just a blink of an eye, it can all crumble before you. Weather cards are the other influencer in the game. They come from a smaller deck and provide powerful buffs or debuffs for other players depending on who's drawn them. The problem is though, is if you draw too many times from that deck, you're likely to unearth the Raincoat Killer card. Then heads start rolling. It's a massive gamble to draw from this deck, but the incentives of the big debuffs that you might get, plus if you are the hidden killer being able to off some of the other players' characters, is a huge incentive to do so. The presentation of the deluxe edition that we got is fantastic as well, coming not only with a gaming mat and some really nice thick durable cards, but also a copy of the director's edition of the game itself, and also the mad as hell soundtrack, which you can put on to set the mood. Isn't that lovely? All of the cards have a lovely flavor, text, and style that's really in keeping with the batty tone of the game itself. And you know what? I just have to say, I love the dice that they've included with this, with each of the sides being themed to a different type of murder or thing from the game. The general quality of the playmat and the suspect boards are really good as well, being thick and durable enough to be able to stand up to some wear and tear. But there are a few complaints to be made, mainly down to the rule explanations. The manual sets out what you need to do fairly well, but there's a few little details that would have helped first-time players a little bit more, such as, are you allowed to make an accusation when you've got all 6 of your people up straight away, or do you have to wait for another turn to come around and use one of your 2 moves per turn? Do you discard cards face down, and do you shuffle the discard pile when you're starting it up as a new main deck again? These aren't said in there, so we just had to kind of say yes, no, and I would have also liked to have seen a few more types of weather cards, or just more of them in general, as you only get 10, because it became quite obvious who the killer was when they were drawing from a limited pile of cards when we knew that there were only Raincoat Killer cards left in there, so they were clearly just trying to off a few suspects. The suggested playtime for this game is between 30 minutes to 45, but we found that our first play with 4 agents did take around about an hour, 15, hour and a half, with lots of double checking for the rules, as well as just trying to make sure the flow was going correctly. However, we do feel like that would be able to just chop that in half when we play it again, which was instantly talked about as soon as we'd finished, because the game was that much fun to play. The mistrust, the rush of evidence, and the quirky charm that it's lifted from its source materials means that this game can be played multiple times in a night without there being any boredom whatsoever. It's a really, really fun title, and with a price of only £45 or thereabouts, it is a worthy addition to anyone's library. With this in mind, I'm giving Deadly Premonition, the board game, 4 stars out of 5. All it basically really needs is just a little bit of tweaking on the words to help newcomers, and this is the perfect after-dinner game where you can murder your friends. I love it. And there we go. Those are my thoughts on Deadly Premonition, the board game. Let me know if you're picking this up or if you already have it, what you thought about it down in the comments section below. Then why not swing by WhatCulture.com for more news and articles like this every goddamn day. And do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell to stay up to date on all of our future antics. As always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.